Hardy City Council, come to order, please. If we would pledge allegiance to the flag,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Murray, would you, or Ms. Penny, I'm sorry, Ms. Penny, yeah.
Dear Lord God Almighty, we, the governing body of our city of Hardy, our city council, our mayor and recorder, and all others who attend, frequent, and work here. Thank you for a quiet, peaceful place to live, raise our children, and do business. We thank you that you care for us. As the city body of authority, we invite you into the affairs of our city. We ask you to grace our activities with the presence of your Spirit to guide us and help us with understanding and direction. Strengthen us, O Lord, to be faithful servants. First, be faithful to you and also faithful to others. In the name of Jesus our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Okay. Call the roll. Allen?
Here.
Barry? Here. Garland? Absent. Harrell?
Present.
Taylor?
Here.
Wise?
Here.
Mayor, you have 5 out of 6. You have a quorum.
We'll proceed. Minutes approval, please.
Okay, the minutes from the July 5th meeting are in your packet. They're on pages 2 through 4. I have a minute to review those and let me know if you have any changes or corrections or additions.
I'll make a motion to accept them as read.
I'll second that.
Motion by Wise and second by Allen to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries.
Agenda
Okay,
revisions.
any changes to the agenda? You have the proposed agenda in front of you. If not, we'll call it good. Okay.
Okay, our A and P report. Can you start skipping none?
Okay.
Oh, you got one?
Good evening. Okay, minutes from our meeting on July 25th. We got 2 sets because we did a special meeting as well. So the first set meeting was called to order by Chairman Moore at the Hardy Civic Center at 301 West Main Street. She led the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioners present were Moore, Taylor, Garland, and Kaufman. We had a quorum. Minutes from the 6/27 meeting were approved. Financial report was given by Commissioner Garland. Balance in the general fund, $92,471.45. Balance in the reserve account, $1,036.39. Old business, the signage in Dr. Thompson Park. We're waiting for Commissioner Smith to get back into town to follow up with Salem Graphics. Banners at Dr. Thompson Park. Commissioner Moore is meeting with the state highway official about the music banner in the park. Updates. The interior locks for the Civic Center were received and installed. Skycam is coming to Hardy. Woohoo! And FNBC is paying. Yeah, woohoo! Wi-Fi. Fidelity came out to work on the Wi-Fi. We're considering upgrading the router. Security camera trailer is up and running, but not connected to the app. Moving funds to the reserve account. Commissioner Moore made a motion to move $50,000 from the general fund to the reserve account. Commissioner Kaufman seconded the motion. Roll vote was taken. Motion passed unanimously. Presentation of postcard awards. Neither award winner was able to make it to the meeting, but photos were received to go into the paper. The tram. Commissioner Corral and Mayor We're waiting to talk to Sid, who was not available when they went to see the tramp. Commissioner Moore will reach out to Mark Huser about the old paperwork on the work done. Events Director Budget Report. Commissioner Garland reported that the joint meeting will be rescheduled. New business. St. Jude interest. St. Jude reached out to the Hardy A&P for photos to include in their packets to recruit new doctors, showcasing things to see and do within a couple hours drive of Memphis. Request for assistance. Crystal Gray, chairman of the Hardy Homesteaders Day, requested $500 for radio and newspaper advertising. Commissioner Moore will ask Ozark Gateway to match funds. Commissioner Coffin made a motion to approve $500 request for advertising funding, and Commissioner Horrell seconded. Roll call vote was done and motion passed unanimously. Tracy Moore requested $1,000 funding assistance for advertising for Treasures in the Ozarks. The discussion was tabled until next meeting. Public comments. Scott Quintana asked if the A&P can receive revenue outside of A&P tax. Commissioner Moore will look into logistics of this matter and report back to the commission at the next business meeting. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Garland proposed changing the music in the park from summer to the fall due to the heat. Scott Quintana suggested the idea of investing in swamp coolers. This will be researched and plan to convene a special meeting next Monday, August 1st at 6 p.m. at the Senior Center to discuss this further and vote. Adjourn. Commissioner Hall made a motion to adjourn the meeting, and Commissioner Taylor seconded. Special meeting was called for August 1st, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Senior Center. Next business meeting is Monday, August the 22nd at 6 p.m. And our minutes from our special meeting last night. Meeting was called to order by Chairman Moore at the Hardy Civic Center. She led the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioners present were Moore, Quarrell, Taylor, Garland, Smith, and Kaufman. There was a quorum. Minutes from the July 25th meeting were approved. Swamp coolers. Commissioner Smith made a motion to present to the City Council storage, maintenance, cost of electricity, and checking in and out and transporting to and from events. Commissioner Horrell seconded the motion. Motion passed unanimously. Adjourn. Commissioner Coffin made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Commissioner Horrell seconded. Next business meeting scheduled for Monday, August 22nd at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Does anybody have any questions? Didn't ask.
I just found out about the swamp cooler question. We will look into it.
Yes.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, great.
City financial meeting.
Okay, the financials are in your packets from pages 5 through 13, and there's a supplemental chart that shows, it's not attached in your packet, but it's separate, that shows the last 4 years' sales tax revenue, still trending above last year. It looks, but based on my numbers, it's about 10% over last year's amount, which was already a pretty good amount over the previous year, so that's looking good. In your financials, starting on page 5, there's a few new items in that are on the income side of it that weren't budgeted in. We got the second round of ARPA money, the COVID relief money. So that's shown in your actuals on that first page there under grants, the $79,000. I need to add a line. There's actually a carryover of $79,000 from last year's amount too. We received some insurance proceeds from hail damage, which of course wasn't budgeted in, so that's in there. On your sales tax revenue on these financials, again, these are marked as drafts because I can't get your previous month balance before the meeting. I don't even have bank statements yet. So we don't have the July receipts entered on these that are printed out for you. So there's actually about $53,000 more in income that's not entered on this that was actually in the bank. So by the time I add that in, you're right, actually a little bit above the budgeted revenue. Should be at about 58%, and you're at about 59% collected so far this year. So that's a good sign. Everything else, there's under the police income, still on that first page, we also have the loan proceeds to pay for the new police vehicle that you approved, and you'll see that as an outgoing expense over under the police expenses as well. So you've already approved that. I have not amended the budget yet to include it, so. Everything else is, pretty much the same things we've talked about before. We have some overages that will be adjusted in your amended budget. You approve them, I just haven't gotten the budget an amended state yet where it shows that, but everything else, library's right on track for their expenses, parks, police, pretty much over on police fuel, which is not uncommon with the price of fuel. The purchases for equipment on police, it has that Tahoe purchase included in there. And water, I was looking at the water revenue. If you skip ahead to the water, I don't remember which page that is, but page 8. Wastewater and water revenue are a little under where they should be at this point in the year. I have not had a chance yet to research why that is. Water's at 43 and wastewater's at 49. So I'm not overly concerned about it, but I am going to do some research on that in the next month.
I didn't get that. Could you try it?
I wasn't talking. Sorry about that. And that's all I had pointed out. If you see anything you want to ask me questions about, I do intend to run a proposed amended budget by you within the next month for you to look over and consider at the next meeting possibly. So I will get those to you.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you. The committee reports. Any, let's say fire. Anybody got anything?
You got a fire here?
That was easy. How about the police department?
I think police, Scott has to go.
Anything to report? We did see the new car in town.
Yeah.
We got part of it.
Part of the car? Huh? Part of the car, the new part.
Yeah, we're getting two because the one that got wrecked, the insurance company's gonna pay on it. We'll be getting another one. I'll let Chief explain that.
Yeah, we did get the new Tahoe that she mentioned we have the expense for. It's fully equipped, it's already strapped, ready to roll, it's already on the street. I think several comments have been, the public has seen it. Just wanted to clear up a couple of misconceptions on it. There was a couple questions that one asked, why do we need such a vehicle? And with the long term and the business specs of it, the reason I went with the Tahoe, of course, they're moving to a rolling office, and they spend their entire shifts in it. We're in them quite a bit. But the police package Tahoe, the price points are about equal to our other options. It's hard to get any of them right now. Any new cars are almost impossible to find. Price points are real close to the same. Gas mileage is actually better. And the resale, your 5-year trade-out span, the resale for a Tahoe is actually twice what we're able to get out of the other, patrol vehicles. So there's going to be some advantages for the city in the future. And I hope we can continue as we rotate our fleet out to go that direction. And they look good, and I've had a lot of good comments on it, and be real beneficial for the city to keep our fleet managed and rotated out to our maintenance cost keeps it a lot lower once you keep a new fleet going on. So, any questions about it?
I just wanted to explain about the one that was in the accident, the insurance.
The Durango that was totaled out, Darlene, I think, can probably more explain it, but again, it's very difficult nationwide for departments to find police cars. We have one through Red River Dodge in Heber Springs, who's a state bid contract dealer for Dodge. The reason we want to replace it with another Dodge is because all of our equipment that was in that vehicle was able to salvage. saves us several $1,000s because it will fit right into a new one, and we don't have to go out and purchase a new equipment that's custom fit for those vehicles. They did find one that was ordered through another department. That other department came up with another option, so they marked it to us. We just don't know when it's going to be here. Could be a month, it could be 3 months. We're not sure. We're able to get by with the sedan that we had recently purchased from John Thrill to keep us where we're not without a vehicle for that shift. So we're able to manage, but we will replace that total Durango with the new one once it arrives. And Darlene can explain on that. There's no
Yeah.
cost to the city.
Yeah, I mean, I can go ahead now. I was going to cover it under the insurance claims, but we got 30, or we haven't gotten it yet, but we've got word as it was total, we're getting the maximum amount we've recovered for minus the deductible, which will be about $36,000, and we owe 11 on it, so we'll get 25. So I think the new one is going to be about the same or a little less.
31.4.
Yeah, so
30.
we'll-
They gave us a quote for it. It's 31,400. It'll be a 22, brand new 22 rather than a 23. So I mean, it's still a brand new vehicle, and the state contract pricing is 31.4 for it, and it's the 5.7 Hemi, which the other one is V6.
So we'll have a net of 25 in the bank to go towards it and decide if we want to.
There's another $600 to $800 worth of striping plus a little bit more of expenses to get it completely ready for the road. So it'll pretty much eat up your insurance money that we're getting for it.
Okay, the fire department's not here to give a report. There's been no drowning to your knowledge in the river this year?
We actually, as far as the river, and our accidents have been very low. Our river rescues, we've had several late arrivals where people got lost on the river, and they've had to do, the fire department did a great job actually on some rescues where they did go out and have to get some people off some banks at 10:30, and we had one of them as late as after midnight, I believe. But there was no injuries, no major, we've had no major situations this year, thank goodness. Knock on wood.
Yeah, thank you.
And you need me to stay up here for the stop, or are we going to talk about it?
It's a long way off.
Good. I'll do it.
Okay, the Public Works Department, doing you good?
Yeah, I have talked to Steve. He says everything seems to be going okay. Just had a lot of breaks that they was not prepared for, on these hot days. But he says everything seems to be going fine.
Great, good. Beaufort Beach restrooms update, well, it's still in the bidding process. We're not ready to do anything yet further on the, because you can't complete the concrete work until we get the plumbing, so forth, electric and all that lined out. So we may have a special meeting on that when that time comes, but I'm not ready right now. And the Dr. Thompson Park, Mr. Garland's not here. I think the heavy traffic flow from the, if I understood him correctly, from the last meeting was, they're not able to get in there and shut it down to paint the floor. So we're probably waiting until fall and humidity, but it looks good, it's much better than it was, and that's the biggest thing we got to hold us up. Hail damage on the insurance claims, we'll let the recorder treasurer explain that.
Okay, we finally got some information from the Municipal League on our claims for the hail damage to the roofs, and we got money actually from them for the gym, the fire station, the city hall, and Thompson Park. So just to break it down roughly, the gym was 107 plus, fire station was about 13 plus, city hall about 5,000, and Thompson Park about 1,000. A little over, it was actually 127,000 total. For those 4 buildings only, we're still pending the library report and the senior citizens building. They first told us we didn't have a claim on the senior citizens building, but then somebody pointed out to me the front of it is all messed up with the paint. So they went back and looked at it again, but I have not heard back yet. And so the money we put in the reserve account for now to determine what we're going to actually do after we sort through and review these. We feel like they're a little under on some of them based on some estimates we've received. So we're still going to work on that and see if they've paid us enough money. In the hail damaged vehicles, we have about 5 or 6 claims out on vehicles between fire trucks one police vehicle and a public works vehicle. So I'm waiting to hear back from those as well. And I should have heard by now, but I didn't get a chance to call them today. And then I was going to tell you about the police car, so you know about that one. So that's all.
That's a municipal league insurance program, correct?
That's right.
That you're waiting on? Okay.
Yes.
Building permit fees. We discussed this a year and a half ago, and we discussed it a few months, 6 months ago. I guess it's time to bite the bullet. What do y'all want to do? We're supposed to do it in July. That's when the variance where we was waiving them was ended in June, or the 1st of July. Do y'all feel like you want to reinstate that, or do you want to waive them for a few more months?
Do you think that it helped the building, you know, people
I
building?
think it helped.
Yes, do you
My
think it
opinion
helped?
is yes,
Yes.
it helped a bunch. I mean, no doubt a person's going to build a house, they're going to spend upwards over $100,000. So the 350 probably not going to make them decide whether they have to spend that or not, whether they're going to build a house or not. But if it was me, it is an incentive.
No, I agree.
And it has nothing to do with the sewer and water or utility hookups to your new home, has nothing to do with that. And my question to Ms. Wilson was, where's that money going? $350. That's about an average for to build a residential. That was our building permit. And I realized some of it covers the cost, but it just seemed like a lot of money. So my opinion is, we need to be researched a little bit, I think. If it's going to be beneficial to us, we're not in it to make money, we're not in it to stop the progress, and we don't want the people to go to other places because of certain things, and but it's true, I will admit that it probably don't make a decision. They probably don't decide, I'm not going to build in Hardy because ours is cheaper than a lot of them and higher than some.
I'll make a motion.
I would just like to see it looked at. I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to postpone it.
Postpone
I'll second that.
Do you want to say how long?
6 months, a month?
Yeah,
End of the
6
year?
months.
Yeah, that's good.
Sound good to me?
To the end of the year.
Yeah.
So a motion by Taylor to to waive building permit fees until December 31st, and second by Allen.
Before they vote on it, one comment.
Okay, any comments?
My comment is, I want everybody to understand, it does not waive the permit, it waives the fees. Anybody doing it still has to get a permit and go through the process. And it's all logged and it's all kept record here in City Hall.
It does not affect our sewer tap fees or
It
anything.
has nothing to do with it, nothing
No.
whatsoever.
I'm for it. Wait.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. We skipped something.
Well,
Since it
Back
deals with
up
money,
one.
don't we have to take it individual?
on the audit, yes, I did. That'll be
I guess
Ms.
not.
Wilson.
Okay, we'll back up a step. So the legislative audit, I mentioned at the last meeting that they had completed it and met with the mayor and I, and there were some very minor findings, and it went through the process in Little Rock, and we got the final report. It's in your packet at pages 14 through 21. It's the full report. It's the legislative audit, which is a financial and compliance report for 2020 and 2021. Sometimes they do 1 year and sometimes they do 2. This is a 2-year one.
Didn't they send these to us too?
You may have gotten one in the mail. I'm not sure. They probably do. Okay. So I would like for you to, if you've reviewed it then already, that's good. There's a letter that says what I like to see in an audit report down towards next to the last paragraph on page 16. During our evaluation, nothing came to our attention that would warrant disclosure in this report, which means the supplemental findings they had were not important enough for them to put in this report. So the following pages have just the summary financials for the 2 years and some notes to the financials. So since you've had a chance to look that over and there were no findings, I would appreciate an approval of the report as we presented it, if you would.
I'll make that motion to approve it.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Motion by Horrell and a second by Taylor to approve the legislative audit for 2020 and 2021. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Motion carries.
It was a good report.
Yes, it was
Great,
awesome.
thank you.
So, appreciate the former administration prior to me doing such a good job.
You did part of it, right?
Huh,
You did part of it, didn't you?
the last month.
Okay, the new business on the resolution of 2022.
I took that off this agenda. I'm sorry, you've got a new packet there. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that's different. I apologize, I didn't email it to you. Yeah.
And I'm gonna let, you got me down, but I'm gonna let you explain that.
Well, I got either one. Either
Well, I'm
one.
gonna let you have it.
Me or, I may pass it over to Joe to read. He likes to read.
It's basically free money.
It is free money. I can just explain it in a nutshell and then let him read the resolution. This is you may have heard, for the police stipends, full-time police department personnel are getting a $5,000 stipend from the state, which you'll see in the resolution. And it doesn't cost the city anything. This is basically to say, yes, we're going to accept that money and amend our budget to put the money in the budget as income and the expense in the expenses to pay it out. So it'll be a wash in our budget, but we need to authorize this. It's been applied for. Scott did the work to make the applications for it for the 4 full-time police officers, and as soon as we get the money in the bank, we'll be paying it out through payroll. So if you would read, Attorney.
Joe, you wanna read it?
Make a motion.
Make a
Oh,
motion.
sorry.
Make a motion,
Motion to read the resolution
yes.
by Alan, a second.
I'll do it.
Okay, Alan and Horrell. Any discussion? All in favor of reading resolution 2022-J, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries.
Resolution number 2022J, a resolution amending the 2022 adopted budget for the purpose of receiving and expending the $5,000 stipend for eligible full-time law enforcement officers. Whereas the Arkansas General Assembly passed Act 224 of 2022 during the 2022 fiscal session. Whereas through passage of Act 224 of 2022, the Arkansas General Assembly appropriated $50 million to provide a one-time salary stipend for eligible full-time law enforcement officers. Whereas eligible full-time law enforcement officers is specifically defined under Act 2024, and the city does not have discretion to change the definition. Whereas each eligible full-time law enforcement officer is entitled to a one-time salary stipend of $5,000. Employee payroll deductions will be applied as required by law. Whereas the City Council of the City of Hardy, Arkansas has determined that the city's 2022 budget shall be amended for the purpose of receiving the revenue for the one-time salary stipend funding from the state of Arkansas and expending the one-time salary stipend to eligible full-time law enforcement officers. Now therefore it be resolved by the Hardy City Council that Section 1 of this resolution shall be known as the first amended budget resolution for the City of Hardy, Arkansas for the remaining budget period beginning January 1, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022. Section 2, the amount for the expenditure proposed in the amended 2022 city budget is hereby approved by the City Council of the City of Hardy, Arkansas, and is hereby authorized and appropriated for the purposes set forth for the remainder of the calendar year ending December 31st, 2022. Passed and approved the second day of August 2022.
Make a motion to accept it as read, don't we?
Motion by Alan to accept resolution 2022-J as read. The second. Second by Horrell. Sorry, saw him first. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed? Any abstains? Motion carries.
Just amended the budget.
Yeah,
Or you do?
I still.
Yeah. It goes in my savings.
Okay.
Huh?
It goes in my savings. Do you?
That's my man said.
Okay. Back up to the resolution you got established, you can sign up sheet. We have a guest speaker, Mr. Gary Blake. Yes, sir.
Here,
If you would, please.
who is he?
This is not a complaint, so if it sounds like one, that's just the way I talk, I'm sorry. I'm Gary Blake, and that's my wife, Robin, back there. I'm originally from Arkansas, but Hardy is my hometown by choice. We've made some wonderful friends here. We fell in love with Hardy, and Robin and I built our home here starting about 12 years ago. We have a cabin on Wapaton that we are very proud of. We built it with our own hands and God's help. We have a concrete and stone dock down below our cabin on the River Road. When we moved here, the dock was in just a tilted concrete slab that had been undermined by the river. It was soon to be claimed by the river. Robin and I worked hard to shore up the slab with concrete and stone. We love our cabin, we love our dock, the river, and Hardy. We love the River Road, and you can often see Robin and I walking the River Road with trash bags picking up the trash along the road between the two bridges. The trash usually consists of drive-through trash, beer cans, Fireball, personal-sized liquor bottles. There's always a lot of those. Syringes, lots of syringes, and broken beer bottles that some idiot likes to bash against the bluff wall. We have to watch for traffic that races down the River Road like it's their own personal drag strip. We also pick up the trash that people leave behind on our dock. We put up signs, but they get stolen or thrown into the river. Our dock sits about 5 or 6 feet above the river, and there was no safe access to the river, so a couple of years ago I built a wooden ladder or a set of steps down to the river. We were proud of the new ladder, and I actually took a video of my wife descending and ascending the steps that week. And I came down to the dock, and there was a drunken stone man sitting on the wooden ladder. I had just built that ladder I just built, and he was fishing and yelling obscenities at the young female floaters as they passed down by the dock. I recognized the white plastic bucket that he was using, as he had been leaving it on the dock between visits. He admitted it was his bucket, and that he had fished there frequently. I told him he couldn't drink and yell obscenities to young girls, and that when he packed up that day, to not come back. He assured me he had a legal right to be there despite my sign. I assured him it was private property, and he was mistaken. I took a picture of his car tag, suspecting that he might do something, so I wanted to back that up. And my wife was driving that day in her car, and we went down to town, and then we came back. We went by the River Road to check the dock, and the white bucket had been set on fire and burned on top of my wooden steps, leaving a step burn and melted plastic dripping down the rocks. As we pulled into the highway, the man was waiting in the SUV in the Mission of Hope parking lot and raced onto the road trying to hit us. The car in the other lane had to avoid being hit, and the SUV forced my wife off the road. She managed to pull into the Spring River Presbyterian parking lot, and the man got out of his SUV yelling something neither of us could understand, and then raced away. I reported this to the police. They came out and took my report, but that was it. It's not a complaint. I'm just giving facts. They didn't even respond to my message afterward. This is a wonderful town. It has wonderful people, and there's no reason in a small town like this to have to deal with few trashy people messing it up for everyone else. I understand that in a small town like this, that these people that do stuff like this are either somebody's family or somebody knows them or whatever, but that's not a reason to not hold them accountable. I was once told by a very well-known person in this town, you can't arrest people who make meth or deal drugs here because they have families to support and they need to have something to do to support their families. I thought that was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard, but that's what he said. I once had the honor of being in the courtroom in Conway over a landlord dispute when I was in college at UCA. The circuit judge called one of the guys up on a ticket and asked if he could pay the fine. When the guy said he couldn't pay the fine, the judge said, "Good." He said, "We're going to have the cleanest streets in the state of Arkansas." And so instead of the guy having to pay the fine, he went out and cleaned streets that weekend. And he liked to do that. And Conway had nice, clean streets during that time. If people are worried about offending people in a small town, letting people wreak havoc is not the answer. Hold them accountable. but in constructive ways. You're not doing anyone a favor if you let people ruin our town because someone is someone's kid or someone's friend. Everyone in the small town fits that description. We need to do something for the good people who live here and who love this town. Last year, I was out at the gravel bar at the Knockers, and there were kids making trenches through the gravel, having fun, rerouting the water through the gravel bar. I commented to the parents, if they didn't close that back up when they were done, that the water would cut through and eventually take the gravel bar. If something isn't done to control this riffraff in Hardy, this wonderful town as we know it will be a thing of the past. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Ritchie. Steve Ritchie, please.
I know you give me 3 minutes, right?
2.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you get 3 now, okay. I give Mr. Blake 3, so I'll put you.
Oh, okay. Well, it's just, fix to start making the flyers for the next ATV ride, September the 17th. And it's looking like right now, we're gonna have about 42 miles, all the way back to town. The dinner spot will be at Kurt Wine's place on Spring River. We've used it several times. He's gracious enough to let us use it again. We've got an addition to this ride. We're going to come in the backside into Highland, Cox Implement. Scott up there, Cox has got some type of games he's going to have for us to play up there for about an hour or so. And he said anything, if they sell t-shirts or whatever they do up there while we're there, all that money comes to this ride. So it's a new twist to another deal. I talked to the police chief up there. When we get ready to go, he's going to block one lane. We're going to bring us right down the side of the highway, right back on Liberty Hill Road. So he said he may try to ride with us on this one, on his unit.
So that's real close to the Liberty Hill Road. So.
Yeah, we're not probably near the bridge there.
When is it? When is it?
September 17th. I'm going to put on the flyers this time and try to start signing everybody up at 9 o'clock. That way maybe we can get out here a little earlier this time. But you know, it's about after 10 sometimes before we get out of here. Hopefully we'll have as good a turnout as we've been having. I mean, we had a good turnout last in May and pouring rain. So I know last fall was 175 people, I believe what it was. Well, we got on that last fall. So we'll see if we can come up with that again. And just kind of want to say again, thanks to the City of Hardy for putting up with us.
Thank you.
All right.
Steve, for all you're doing, we appreciate it. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Okay.
I had a letter to present to the council, but I think I'll wait. And it's just quite the opposite of what Mr. Blake had to say, and I don't want it to sound like I'm rebutting anything. I'd rather not. So I'll hold off on that. And I would like to get with the police chief and Mr. Blake, if it's okay with him, if I get his phone number, so I can set up an appointment. I'd like to sit down and discuss some of them issues with him, because I'm a 30-year law enforcement officer in this town myself. Not going to say we don't all make mistakes, but we're in pretty good shape in most cases, and I'm not aware of what you brought up, and I would like to sit down and discuss it with the police chief. We'll meet right here. Yeah, we'll be safe. Thank you. All right, I believe that's all we have, unless someone else has something. Ms. Moore?
I was wondering, do they know about your impending starship coming up in a couple of
My
days?
impending what?
Being a star, a celebrity
No.
in a couple of days?
No, I don't want no publicity. Yeah, what is that, on TV8?
KAIT
Yeah.
is coming down to shoot, and the mayor's going to be the host, and they're coming to do shooting on Thursday of parts of Hardy for like their road trip segment or something like that. Right off the bat, I'm blank, but
Yeah.
I just thought you might see the KAIT.
Yeah.
This coming Thursday?
Hopefully they film for 2 hours and only show 30 seconds.
That's what they normally do.
That's my plan. True. Yeah, that is true. And my intentions to not seek another term is made public tonight. I'm not running for re-election, so I will finish this year out as Mayor Hardy, and then in January 1, you'll have a new mayor, as it looks like, because I'm not signing up to rerun. I'll be at the age I want to retire, I'm going home. But I really enjoyed it. It's really been an honor to be here, and I want everybody to know that. I really appreciate all their support and all their vote. You've got a wonderful council here, and I think you've got good people all over town, and I will support whatever goes on as long as it continues to grow. And I thank y'all, and this meeting will be adjourned.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, I'll second that.
You got one.
And Alan, I take it everybody's for that, so.
Yeah.
We'll call it approved when you leave.